Whaler Guys at Sargent Street in Hartford for another fabulous episode of the Whaler Guys. And you guys are the brigade. So we talked about our last episode, which was the Zambonis, our trip down to Fairfield with the Zambonis. Great time. Our big topic tonight, and you put it out there on social media, and I piggybacked it on the Whaler Brigade page on Facebook, is if you, as a hockey fan in Hartford, are not following the NHL, what team are you following? Are you following the Wolfpack AHL club? There's a lot of people that I talk to a lot, even at work, that follow the AHL. There's a big following of the AHL. But if you had to pick an NHL team, what team would that be? For me, to your demise, is the Bruins.
It is.
And you sit there.
Yeah. I
don't have a hockey team.
No,
I have a hockey team.
I have a fallback. I kind of fall back on the Flyers a little bit. The relationships with Hartford is actually pretty intertwined. You had Kevin Dineen as the captain of the Flyers. You know, you had Mark Howe going to the Flyers. You had
Holmgren.
Holmgren, those guys. And then you also had Howard Baldwin Sr. got his first job as a ticketing exec for the Philadelphia Flyers. And so they've always been the Baldwins, and even Howard Baldwin Jr. worked for the Flyers in the late '80s. So the Baldwins have a connection to that. So I've always kind of been with the Flyers, but it's not something I dive into. I don't live and die with certain teams. I watch the Wolfpack.
Do you watch hockey? Like if there's a hockey game on, will you watch the whole game, or do you kind of scan through?
Well, it depends how many games are on. I'll switch between games definitely.
Yeah.
But we definitely want, like I said, and sometimes it's fun. We can talk about it here and the things we see. But there is nothing in this world like when there's a team in Hartford and we're talking about the Whalers. If that was going on, our show would be off the charts because you and I would be like spinning like tops with all this stuff.
Sure, but the thing is, we're hockey fans.
Yeah.
And whether you're watching the Flyers or the Wednesday night rivals on NBC Sports Network, I have no problem when, of course, with all due respect to my wife, is watching some show that I have to watch. The good news is we're at a point of our marriage where when Stanley Cup time comes on, I will turn on the game, whatever game is on.
Yeah.
If it happens to be a Bruins, she'll actually watch the game. Yes, but But the thing is, she'll watch the game.
Yeah.
And then, of course, on commercials, you have to flip back to the little fuzzy shows.
Yeah.
But it's nice because I will watch any game that's on. Wednesday night, NBC Sports Network has done a great job with the rivalry night. I think it's going to be great. Yeah. The opening night of the NHL season this year is the Rangers and the Blackhawks.
That's an incredible
That should be a great start to a 2016 season.
Right.
So I have no problem turning on a TV, especially when nobody's home. It's great. You say, hey, I got the whole place to myself. I can watch TV and I can watch the game.
Right.
But what we want to hear from you guys is who's your NHL club?
In lieu of the Whalers.
Right, exactly. Since we do not have an NHL club here, who are you following? Who do you pay attention to? Do you just watch like us? We'll turn on, NBC Sports Network and watch the Wednesday night game. Or if it's a doubleheader, you get to watch the West Coast game as well.
Yeah.
And then realize you have to get up for work the next day.
Right.
But we want to know who you are. So comment on the feed, which is on the Hartford Hockey page.
Right, there's a Hartford Hockey page. On there it's about a Wolfpack. Because we always talk about, and you and I never really delve into this, at least on air, about the fractured fan base that is in Hartford, because it's so construed that you can't even. I mean, there are Whaler fans that are just Whaler fans. They're not going to the XL Center for Wolfpack. There are Wolfpack fans who are Wolfpack fans, but they like the Flyers, or they like the Red Wings, or they like the Penguins, so those guys aren't even Ranger fans. Then there's the Wolfpack fans who like the Rangers, but aren't opposed to if the Whalers came back, they're not opposed to that at all. And then there are Wolfpack fans who don't want the NHL back, and then there are Whaler fans who want the AHL to just go away. So there's all these factions, and you could say sometimes it's supposed to be a melting pot, but it comes off more of like a lava pit of just.
It's a war zone.
And especially on social media.
And we were talking about it off camera, where I look at, and I have a lot of friends that are Wolfpack fans. I have no problem going to a hockey game in Hartford, the Wolfpack, we go quite a bit, and talk to people about hockey.
Yeah.
If you can be respectful and let's have an intelligent conversation about hockey, I have no problem with that. Let's have a beer together. Let's have something to eat, whatever. Let's talk about hockey.
Right.
But this Hatfields and McCoy crap has to go away.
Yeah.
You're under one building. Hartford is Hartford. Yeah. We all should be proud that we have hockey in Hartford, whether it's UConn, whether it's the Wolfpack. Eventually, we hope it's the NHL.
Yeah.
we hope that the people who follow Wolfpack will go to NHL games. Again, it's a very realistic thing, and I'm one of these people where if the NHL comes back, can I afford tickets? That's a very realistic thing.
Oh,
we
sure.
talked about that.
Yeah.
Split it up with your friends. We talked about 10-game plan.
Right.
You know, you're going to split 10 games apiece for your 40-game
Right.
schedule.
Mm-hmm.
But let's get over to bull stuff.
Yeah.
With regard to, I don't like them because they like the Wolfpack. Cut it out.
Yeah.
There's really nice Wolfpack fans. There's really nice Whaler fans.
Yeah.
There's asses that are Wolfpack fans and asses that are Whaler fans.
It's,
we know that.
It's every
we
team
talk
has
to
them.
everybody.
You know, everybody has them. They're all out there.
And you know, there's ones that just love to poke that fire. And you know what? Let's just come together and enjoy hockey. And you know what? Let's have sensible conversations online and enjoy each other's company as hockey fans. And you know what? Yeah, there's some ribbing that can go on respectfully, of course.
Right.
You know, I don't dislike someone enough to go on social media and blast them. I'm not one of these people. If I don't like you, I'm going to tell you to your face. I don't need a computer to stand behind and be like, oh yeah, I'm a tough guy here. You know, whatever.
And I think that this is like this may be the only hockey city, because we're talking over 40 years of having the AHL, WHA, or the NHL. You got 3 hockey leagues over 40 years, and this is probably the only city, I would think, honestly, maybe in the entire nation, where you have an AHL fan base that rivals with an NHL former fan base, and they come to a head. And I'll tell you what, for Whaler fans, you don't have to worry about Wolfpack fans. You don't even have to go after them. It's kind of like, you know, you don't have to bother with them because they're in the AHL. If the NHL comes back, the AHL is gone, and Wolfpack fans don't have to worry about Whaler fans because you got your AHL club, and if it leaves, you still got the Rangers in New York. You got a 2-hour drive. So you know, a lot of people get into this whole Wolfpack Whaler rivalry, but there's really nothing to it. It's you know, it's almost like a complete waste of everybody's time. You know, it doesn't get anywhere. You get over on somebody else. It's social media. Nobody cares. You know?
Right. And the other thing is, you know, for the people that say, well, Hartford doesn't fill up the arena. Well, the bottom line is the NHL is not solely looking at how many people are in the seats.
Right.
That isn't a judge. The judge is what type of disposable income is in the area.
Yeah.
They know if they market the team, if an NHL team comes back, if they market the team correctly, you have a winning team, because I'll bring that up in a minute, how fans are in Connecticut.
Yeah.
You know, if they're not winning, of course they're not going to go.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, it's a little better because you buy a season ticket, so you want to go to those games because you've invested that money into it. But fans won't show up when you have a loser team. We had a loser team for many years for the Whalers, and you could see the decline. But towards the end, they were in a top third of attendance, like we talked about.
Right.
Some people throw it because, oh, they were trying to keep them. Okay, well, that's your opinion.
Yeah.
I think they were actually a good fan base, and Michael Freeman even said that. It was a good fan base back then. It was a supported fan base, and it can be supported again, just like Chris Lawrence said, that this area can support an NHL team.
Yeah.
With that being said, I wish more people go to Wolfpack, and I don't understand why they don't. I then found out that, you know, for $10 ticket, $12 ticket, $15 ticket, whatever the price is this year, and I haven't looked, I'm sorry, support the hockey club. You know, go to the games. They're a lot of fun, and they're tomorrow's stars right here in Hartford.
Yeah.
And you talk to the players, they're great guys. Kenny Jernander, again, I say it over and over, he's a class act. He's the great person for a coach and for the AHL. I think Kenny Jernander, I wish he had an opportunity to be an NHL coach because I think he deserves it.
Yeah.
He's a good representative of what
nonsense.
a coach could be. He's polite, he's a gentleman.
Yeah, and he's got a great sense of humor. He's
does.
actually really funny. And you know, I was one of those guys who didn't. I was a Whaler fan from 97 to 2010. You know, I didn't go to the AHL games. I had no interest in the Rangers. I'm not a Ranger fan, this and that. It really doesn't have to be about that. Now, you could tell me, yeah, they look like the Rangers and all that. You don't have to root for them. You can root for Syracuse. You can root for Lehigh.
What do you think's going to happen if the Whalers come back?
Yeah.
Is it going to be filled with Whaler fans?
No,
it's going to be filled with hockey fans who like the Rangers, Bruins, Panthers, whoever it may be. Hopefully we just grab the Panthers and bring them up here.
Yeah, if the NHL does come back, those Wolfpack fans who are Ranger fans are going to be in the building. So, you know, they're not going away if the AHL goes away. It's just not the way it works. Now, the Wolfpack game, you know, when we go, they're averaging over in like 4,700 from last season. Their biggest goal right now is, can they improve upon that 4,700? Was that a fluke going up 600 people in attendance, or is that a result of the building, the you know, the Yukon hockey, all that? So you know, there's
maybe
a lot
Yukon hockey can start pushing more hockey fans to the Wolfpack side and get more people to attend those games, and they are. They're great. I mean, even the Sunday afternoon games is a perfect time.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? That's perfect.
Yeah.
People want to get home for dinners. If the kids go, get them ready for school the next day.
Yeah.
There's no excuse.
No.
And I hate, and it fries me, that, it's football season. If you're a hockey fan, go to a hockey game. You're going to get your updates on your phone.
Yeah.
You're going to see it outside in the concourse area. They have football games on.
They have it in the bar area.
In the bar area. Go up and see it.
You can watch football and see the hockey game.
And the other thing is, at intermission, go up and see some of the football games.
Yeah.
But support the hockey club we have. And, we can't put that out enough. Pete and I go quite a bit, and, we go back and forth, and a lot of it's just BSing with people because we want to meet people. It's kind of Hartford's town green in hockey season.
Yeah.
You can meet everyone there.
Yeah,
hey, meet me at the game. We'll have a beer together. We'll have something to eat. Grab a hot dog. Whatever.
Yeah.
The beer gets a little pricey, so meet at one of the restaurants. Vaughn's is good.
Yeah.
Salute if you want to spend a little bit more money, but for good quality food. Right there, Jimmy Cosgrove, who runs that place, is awesome.
Yeah.
But again, we all have to come together, and instead of butting heads, let's put our heads together and talk hockey. I mean, it's a great evening if you can get a bunch of people together.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you that, the NHL is watching all this Wolfpack attendance. They're probably not. And you know what? The AHL attendance has never been an indicator of NHL attendance. Otherwise, you wouldn't have teams in Tampa Bay, Raleigh, Phoenix. You wouldn't, because they did have AHL clubs and no AHL attendance support. But, behind the scenes, if the AHL attendance is very good, the NHL is going to notice that. And we know this because they've noticed the UConn attendance. They noticed college attendance. A college club below 500 broke attendance records last year in this market. And if that happened to the AHL, I think that would definitely pique a lot of heads.
And I'm sure the investment group who's looking at this area to put an NHL team in is also looking at those numbers.
Yeah.
And I hope that, we can get more people in the building because, I was one of those fans after the Whalers left that I followed the Wolfpack, and I still follow the Wolfpack, but I went to a lot of games with a friend of mine because you were looking for that void to fill from the Whalers leaving to, okay, is this going to be now our club? And yes, my kids were younger, so we took the kids a lot. My best friend and his wife took their kids, so it was something we could do together. And it was a affordable night out, and it still is a very affordable night out. I think there's new parking things for October.
It's gonna be the $5 parkings at the Church Street Garage. If you have your opening night ticket, and that's a great deal because how parking has been kind of gouged. In Hartford, where it's $10, $15, $20 for just an hour or two, a couple hours. But now that Church Street Garage, which is owned by the CRDA, which is the state owns that, so they can make that deal. It's getting a fresh paint job right now.
That's good.
We're just talking about that in general, and the fact that we see all the social media, everybody butting heads. There's no win here.
No.
It's like I always say this all. Hartford hockey is like that Braveheart movie, where you got all these clans. They're all fighting over each other because they don't like the British.
Right.
But at the same time, if you guys stood together, you can have your own hockey market, your own. We could be talking about Wolfpack and Whalers. I'm not a Wolfpack fan. I watch the games. I root for them because I want them to win because it's much more exciting to write about winners than it is to write about losers.
I root for the Wolfpack more times than not because they're the home team. They're our team right now.
Yeah.
And how can you root against them? I've talked about this all because I get all fired up when the Canadian farm team comes in, Hamilton, and those God blessed red sweaters. I want them to trash them. And every time, the last 3 years I've seen Hamilton and the Wolfpack play, Hamilton's beat them, and I get so angry leaving. I'm like, come on, if there's one team you gotta beat, it's this team.
Yeah. I mean, it's for the Whaler fans, I get it. We were talking about the Islander fans. The Islander fans got upset because the exhibition game at the Barclays Center, they got rid of the goal horn in Long Island, in Nassau, and replaced it with like a subway horn that they came up with. And everyone's like, you kind of threw away, the tradition of the Islanders. And I think a lot of Whaler fans felt that way. MSG, they did do a couple of nice Whaler events, but in general, they've kind of distanced themselves from the whole Whalers. And that's their right. It's their club. I think the Wolfpack made a mistake with the branding. I'm not shy about that. The logo is just awful. The Wolfpack logo is just bad. I just don't like it. A rebrand of that would be probably not a bad idea. It's just, to me, it's not an appealing logo. It just doesn't, we don't even know what Wolfpack is. It's supposed to be something about submarines. But, that relates back to World War II. And, it just doesn't fit. I mean, I understand that there's a Connecticut history with submarines. But this is about Hartford hockey. So we're looking for something, a little bit different. But be that as it may, this could be the Wolfpack's last season. They could be out of here at the end of the year. because that 3-year contract ends this year. So we don't even know how that's going to go. So, looking at it though, we're hearing a lot of good NHL news, and we're hoping that Hartford is still in this mix for relocation. At that same point, we'll have a Wolfpack season this year.
And the other thing is, when we started with the Wolfpack, when the Whalers left, there were so many more people in the stands. I've talked to you at length about this. We talked to Michael Freeman about this. The big thing was MSG back then really marketed. And I don't know if things have changed of how they're marketed, but what bothers me is you would have 5,000, 10,000 a game. Sometimes you'd have more than 10,000 a game. And I don't know if it was just, it was shiny and new, and people were going to the games. But I was at the game when they beat Providence, which probably made you happy. When Terry Virtue scored the goal, won 7 games. There was 10,000 people there, and they were loud. And the next thing you know, it just went away. And for the life of me, I don't understand. Is it because of the lack of marketing? Is it because the shiny new look just kind of fell off? I don't understand, because they're the same club as they were back in 1998. Bringing them in. So I don't know what that dynamic is. I would hope that they would market them more. If they're going to be here, then market them, put them out there.
Well, the building issue is still an issue too, because it's expensive to run the AHL, the building. Not to mention this $1.4 million affiliation fee, which is one of the highest in the league at the time it was signed with the Rangers. So the Rangers aren't really helping the advertising dollar with the price on it. But at the same time, we're talking about minor league AHL hockey. You don't have to treat it like it's it's a Ranger invasion or whatnot. Like I said, a lot of those fans aren't even Ranger fans. They just want to go see a hockey game and see them win. And that Terry Virtue goal, I would argue in the 41 year, we're coming up on our 44th year of hockey, you got to put that goal somewhere in the top 10. If you have not seen that goal, go on YouTube and see it. The crowd's electric. And I've had Whaler fans, diehard Whaler fans who don't like the Wolfpack, that said that building was the roof got blown off when that goal was scored. And it was a huge goal. It sent them on to the finals. They'd only been here for 3 years. And there was still a lot of Whaler season tickets in that building. Now, they did eventually bow off.
You know what else kills me on that is, if you look at the paper back then, the Hartford Courant, they covered the Wolfpack much more than they're covering them now. And that's another layer of this that you can go into and say, why aren't you putting them on the front page? Why aren't you putting, they made the playoffs. Were they on the front page? No, page number 4. Are you kidding me?
And being with Examiner.com, I go downstairs after every game. We talk to the 3 stars, we talk to Ken Janander. And I know that the current, when I talk to Paul Doyle and Jeff Jacobs, occasionally, just briefly, they just not allocated time or experience. They're not afforded time to go cover the Wolfpack because the Hartford Courant's focused on UConn. So those guys, the current guys, don't show up until the playoffs, until the games get a little bit more meaningful.
But it's ridiculous.
But
if you're
relating it to
yes, UConn makes the state money. Yes, UConn's the flagship university. Blah 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 blah. Yes, but guess what? The Wolfpack, if you marketed them more, and you put them in the paper more, and you got people reading about who these players are, you have to do it, because you know what? All that's happening is, just like the paper, they're being shoved right to the 4th page. And that's a bunch of crap, because now it shows that you don't care about this team. And maybe it's because the editors and whoever's running Hartford Courant is like, no, UConn. Well, you know what? You might want to rethink that.
You're right.
Hockey's important in Hartford. UConn, is important, but you know what? Our hockey team has been more successful throughout the years than UConn.
And the other thing that a lot of Whaler fans think that, I'm not going to go to the Wolfpack because if I give them my ticket money, they're going to stay. The Rangers already have all their money. They get their money up front. The $1.4 million affiliation fee, they walk off. Now Spectra, which was Global Spectrum, they're stuck with marketing and trying to get people to come in the building. Our state is tied to that XL Center. When you go to Wolfpack games, you're actually supporting more the state than you are supporting the Rangers. Like I said, the Rangers already got their money. They've already walked away. So, you're not really, you may think you're making an impact to make the Rangers leave. It's not. I think the Rangers would stay here no matter what the attendance was because it's close to New York.
Well, not only that, they have one hell of a deal.
They have a good deal, and also, hey, if Bridgeport opens up, I would not be surprised if they jumped in on that.
Sure, and but that's 2 years down the road.
That could be some time down the road. And then you're looking at, what does Hartford do? Do they keep an AHL club? Do they go with the Devils or somebody else? Or do they just stick with UConn? So there's a lot going on in Hartford hockey in terms of all these moves, and then on top of that, we have this cloud of the NHL, and are they going to be able to land in Hartford? Is that going to happen? So stay tuned with us for all this information, because we'll be at the Wolfpack games, we'll be at UConn games, we'll be talking to our sources within the city about the NHL. What we heard recently that they were in town again. One of these days we got to write this down, because I tell you how many times
chronologically.
Yeah, I mean they're here more often than fast track buses.
Again, we take it with a grain of salt. We have a good source, but the thing is, until we really see things moving along, and like we've discussed on previous shows, the real measure of this is when and if the legislature passes the $250 million remodel. Then we're in a driver's seat.
Right.
Then we are a legitimate site for NHL hockey. Right now, whatever's happening behind the scenes is maybe it's a foundation. Maybe they have to take care of paperwork and everything else, what's going on. Until that arena gets the retrofit approved and through the legislature, they can dance all day and probably just tire themselves out. But of course, we talked about it. Yeah, we're a little more than a pipe dream right now, and we're optimistic. Of course we are. Yep, we could be totally let down again. I'll get pissed off and I'll be flying it all over the place. But you know what? It is what it is.
Yeah.
We can't. You can only dream so much, and you know what? Until these people come forward and make something known, whether it's through the media or through any sources downtown, we can only tell you what we're hearing. It's very frustrating at times.
Yeah.
Ask him. We sit in the car before the show, and I'm all fired up about this or that, and it's like, why aren't they doing anything? What's going on?
Yeah.
Why was Bettman here?
Yeah.
Was he here? Our source said he was here. We take him for his word, and that's great.
Yeah.
We want to see people, though.
Yeah.
Invite us to the meetings, and then we can tell you guys, you know what? It's a little more than a pipe dream.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is what we're telling you. We tell it like it is. We're not going to BS anyone.
Yeah.
But back to the point at hand is, let's all enjoy the hockey that's coming.
Right.
October 10th is opening night.
Yeah.
Go to the game. Root for whoever the hell you
Wear
want.
your Whaler stuff.
But have
if you're
a great
Whaler
time.
fan.
If you're a Whaler fan,
just get a Whaler section together.
Wear your NHL jerseys. You know what? Who cares? You're hockey fans.
Yeah.
We have a good friend. He wears his kids wear a Wolfpack. He wears a Whalers.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You're taking your family to the game. Enjoy it.
Right.
Trust me. My kids are now married and one's in college.
Yeah.
I wish I had that time back to bring them on to watch a hockey game together.
There are fans, hockey fans out there. Hartford hockey fans who follow everything. Follow on Twitter at Whalepack. There's an example of a guy who's a Whaler fan. He's a Ranger fan and a Wolfpack fan, all combined, and he's got a positive attitude. Joe Oxtolis of Minuteman Press in Bristol. When we talk to him all the time, like you said, he's got a Whaler jersey on. His kids are wearing Wolfpack. He goes to the games, he enjoys them, and he wants the NHL back. What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
Yeah.
And he supports them.
Yeah.
Another guy, Jeremiah, same thing.
Yeah. Goes to the Wolfpack games. Doesn't
brings
love
the
them.
kids. Nope.
Doesn't love them, but he's there.
He wears his Whaler jersey, brings the kids, enjoys the game.
Yep.
He has a partial season ticket.
Yep.
These are people who are investing in Hartford, and that's really what it is. You're investing in Hartford.
Yeah, it's our
in the
city.
State.
Yeah.
And you know what? If people are complaining on the state level that it costs more money that when the Wolfpack makes the playoffs, well, it's up to us to change it. Let's make the state make more money so they can do something, hopefully with the arena, and not to the general fund. That's a whole separate conversation.
Yeah.
But hopefully they put that money back into the XL Center, and we're supporting the right cause, which is we need the building.
Yeah.
Regardless if the NHL comes back, that building needs to be upgraded so we can have skating events, Disney on Ice. You can have concerts, and we can be a breadwinner in Hartford. And I want them to steal all the stuff from Mohegan Sun and all from the Foxwoods, because you know what? Hartford has to be an attraction where people want to come downtown again.
Right.
Restaurants, bars, whatever. Make it hopping like it was in the 80s, like we talked about before. It was a great place to come downtown. It was a big deal to come downtown. Well, it's time to make downtown again a place to go, a destination. And with the the mayoral candidates going at it, and now Luke Bronin looks like he's going to be the Democratic candidate for mayor. He's got some history with the Whalers, and we've talked to him about it. So, you know, not saying it's going to happen, but it pushes us in a future that looks hopeful.
Yeah, and like I said, it's hockey in Hartford. I mean, you can't deny that. And like I said, if MSG was running the ship and you said, I don't want to give my money to MSG, I can understand that. But this is more of a state issue. You're actually helping the state out when you attend the Wolfpack games because they're the guys holding the bag in the whole XL Center. That building's expensive to run. And you know what? If we lose that building, you're not getting anything. You're not getting AHL or NHL. So, you know.
So it's a lot to digest.
Yeah.
Messages on Facebook.
Yeah,
on
talk
Twitter,
to us about it.
At Whalers Brigade. Facebook is the Whalers Brigade. And the other thing is, you can also email us at any time. jewhaler13@gmail.com, phindle19@gmail.com. And for this episode, we're done. We're One Nation Under Green. Have a good night.
Let's go Whale.